Bear down, Chicago Bears. Did Justin Fields unfollow the Chicago Bears on Instagram? And is Ryan Poles having an affair with Caleb Williams? There's reports coming out that Ryan Poles was meeting with several different people, among them Lincoln Riley and Kliff Kingsbury, during his due diligence phase. And there's a lot of different information that starts to come out right now. And not only that, Justin Fields himself is about to address the situation with the Instagram, but I think all hearts and minds right now are on the relationship, if there is one, between Ryan Poles and Caleb Williams. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them, but I know that there's been some conversations, and I guess, what are you going to say? Will they or won't they? We got a lot of information coming out. We're going to talk about it in just a few minutes right after the jump. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future content. This is Bearish with Bleeves.
I can't wait till Friday. Everybody's getting sideways. Pass the bottle back my way. Everybody's getting sideways.
All right, that is a work in progress, by the way. I'll be enhancing and messing with that over the next couple of days. But NBC Sports Chicago, Bears social media in a frenzy on Monday when fans noticed that Justin Field was not following the Chicago Bears official Instagram account. Now, of course, because this is what we do, we turn it into a thing. And we say that right here, Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears on Instagram. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know that he ever followed them. Now, there is some information coming out that you're going to see very shortly that we're going to get some clarity to that. And it's coming from the St. Brown brothers. So it's going to be interesting. And it is an interview with Justin Fields. So a crucial note is that it's unknown whether or not the quarterback was following the Bears to begin with. If he was, it is also unknown when the act of unfollowing actually took place. All that is known right now is that Fields does not follow the team on Instagram. Now, to clarify that a little bit further, if you come over to Twitter and you put in Justin Fields and you go to Justin Fields, then you will see that, in fact, he is following Ohio State football, Barstool Ohio State, CJ Stroud. But as we go down this line, we're looking for somebody following Justin Jones, following Jim McMahon, following the Chicago Bears. Why would a guy who's following people on social media not be deleting them from all social media? So I would posit and say that the people who are saying he just unfollowed, they don't know what they're talking about. However, I do also want to point out he's not very active. He's not an active social media sort of guy. Probably looks at it a lot, probably doesn't make a lot of comments. Now, we've been through yesterday. I suggest you go check out yesterday's show where we went through his Instagram. And, generally speaking, he really just does hype videos for Reebok and Pepperoni and sponsors. He's not really interested in doing whatever you could be doing on Instagram. So make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Thank you so much. Pushes me up in the algorithm, helps me to continue to trend. And Mongo McMichael doing better. Probably they were expected to be released from the hospital. So we'll have more on that as we get it. But here we have this little interview. It's coming out today from the 33rd Team podcast. It's the St. Brown brothers and Justin Fields. And basically, Equanimia says, what about that? What about that unfollow with the Bears? What's up with that? And he says, bro, I'm glad we're talking about that, because then it cuts off. So today, 33rd Team is going to release the podcast. And as of right now, really all you see on the 33rd Team today is hype for Fields and the brothers podcast, but it has not started yet. So we don't have any clarity on whether or not it's going to happen. It could also be, by the way, that this was something that they did. They were like, unfollow the Bears so that we can make it a thing, so that we can hype it up. And he could have been like, okay, cool. or maybe he never followed them at all, or it's just one of those things, where he's letting people know, if Ryan Poles is able to have an affair with Caleb Williams, then I can just do whatever I want. Also, I'm pretty sure he's following like the Steelers and the Falcons and whatever his favorite teams were when he was a college kid. So, not a big deal. But the perfect landing spot if the Bears trade Fields. Jared Allen, the Bears should keep Fields and trade picks. Which, by the way, we're going to get into a lot of this. A lot more players are coming forward saying, the Bears would be stupid if they moved on from Justin Fields. The Bears might be, you might say the Bears would be like the Judas of, YouTube comments, if you will, if the Bears moved on from Justin Fields. And, there's going to be a debate about that for a long period of time, I'm sure. But in fact, if you go down this page, it was saturated with Justin Fields commentary because today is that day. So, we'll see what happens. Here is their advertisement on 3013 for this today. February 21st doesn't have a time. I don't know what time it normally launches or anything like that. We haven't seen an update at this point so far. So I'm assuming maybe around noonish or somewhere around there, we'll probably get a little bit of clarity from Justin Fields. And if we get a breaking story on that, then we will let you know as soon as it comes out. Also, in the news, on the Chicago Mockery, we have this conversation. When did the Bears become sold on Caleb Williams? And this is where we found out that Ryan Poles was cheating on Justin Fields with Caleb Williams, or at least kicking the tires and checking it out to see about the possibility of making the move. The final decision won't be made until the Chicago Bears or on the clock in April. However, it sounds more and more likely that they have their sights set on Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick. Every national insider has hinted that for almost a month. However, none of them, by the way, it should be noted, none of them are actual insiders for the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are holding it tight to their vest, and they haven't said what they want to do. Now, and by the way, for anybody who's wondering why they wouldn't just come out and trade Justin Fields, or why they wouldn't come out and just say what it is that they want to do, it's very simple. If you intend to trade the pick, then you don't want to tell them that you prefer a specific person, because it changes the way that you value the selection. If you sit quiet, then you let what's called FOMO, fear of missing out, build up. So the Washington Commanders are going to make an offer. The New England Patriots might make an offer. The Phoenix Cardinals could make an offer. Arizona Cardinals could make an offer. You're even hearing rumors of like Pittsburgh and the Vikings wanting to make a move. There's a lot of people that are looking and valuing that number 1 position. So if you make no statement about it other than it would take a monster haul, which came out of Hallis Hall, it would take a monster haul for them to move off of the number 1 pick. Then what you're doing is you're laying the expectation for people that you better make me a significantly large offer if you want to get this kid with that number 1 pick. I mean, that's basically what's happening right now, and that's what they're doing. So does that mean that they're sticking with Justin Fields? I don't think so. I think that that's just that's some hyperbole. And in fact, my mock draft today was about them moving on from Justin Fields, just in the off chance that that might happen. So make sure you hit the like button, by the way, on the way in. That would certainly help push me up in the algorithm. Now, the draft experts believe that the 2024 class is strong at quarterback with with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and now even JJ McCarthy in the race for that top spot, or in that first round, which now seems to be a very quarterback heavy round and very wide receiver heavy round. So we'll be excited to see what happens there. But next up, we want to congratulate Jennifer King, who is being hired as a running back assistant coach for the Chicago Bears. This is going to be the first Black female coach in NFL history. She spent the past 3 seasons as a full-time offensive assistant with the Washington Commanders. So not considered a coach, but considered an assistant. Her title was assistant running back coach. I don't know this. She's the first female, the first Black female coach in NFL history. So welcome aboard. Hopefully she's got a good idea and a good sense in the running back room, and maybe she can enhance the performance there. So excited to see how this plays out. Sports Track, just a couple of ideas here to let you guys know. Market value, Eddie Jackson, Yannick Ngakoue, Cody Whitehair, they're not coming back. Justin Jones at $6 million seems like a keeper. We could probably get him back. Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney probably moving on. Robert Tonyan at tight end probably moving on. Nothing really redeeming right there. Rasheem Green, 2.5 million. I would kind of keep that around. I would kind of keep him around if I could, if there's no big market for him. Mercedes Lewis, I would be looking to keep around as a serviceable backup and a good blocker, even though he's 40 years old, still has an opportunity. Deonta Foreman, I continue to add in the draft, but his average annual salary looks like it's going to be about 3 million in this range. The averages are 4.5 million. Average salary is about 3 million. So you're looking at maybe about $3 to $5 million for Deonta Foreman. That might be a little bit cost prohibitive for the Chicago Bears. Also, Jalen Johnson. When you look at the market value for Jalen Johnson, which we do want to, I think, if I'm right, I think we want to do everything we can to re-sign. And it looks like in this market that these are the comparable players, and it's coming in at about 18 million. I don't think that's accurate. I think that I think they're going to be looking at Jair Alexander type money. So I don't know that this is a comparable sort of contract here, but average salary of 20 million. He wants to be paid like the highest. This is kind of averaging it out. So I would get the sense here. The base calculated value here is 84 million over 5 years at 16.95. I got a feeling it's going to be quite a bit more. I don't know that the Bears are going to be able to get some kind of hometown discount or anything like that for Jalen Johnson. So I would be looking for, in the event that he's coming back, I would look for 20 to 25 million at a minimum. Patrick Scales, probably going to bring him back if at all possible. Equinemius St. Brown, because he fits in and because Trent Taylor kind of fit in at the $1 million range, and it wouldn't be a lot more expensive to re-sign them as wide receivers. Most probably they're going to be the likely people coming back. Dylan Cole at inside linebacker, because you're going to need you're going to need a little bit of depth here. And then you've got the market value for Darnell Mooney. Market value for Darnell Mooney is very interesting because it kind of checks out in the $10 to $13 million range. And that's a lot for somebody who had a very, very down year. So I do want to say this, that no disrespect to Darnell Mooney. We certainly thank him for everything that he's done for the Chicago Bears these last 4 years, but I do feel like it's probably time to move on from Darnell Mooney. I don't know if he has that tremendous upside left in him. Now, with that being the case, you can make an argument, a fairly decent argument, that in that 10 million, maybe 8 million to 10 million range, there's a possibility of bringing him back, because if you pick up somebody like a Marvin Harrison Jr. and you don't use him at the number 9 pick, or if you use Roma Dunze at the 7 pick or at the 9 pick or something like that, if you're saving on your payroll in the draft and you're building through the draft. Now, the problem with that is that you're bringing in 6 people from the draft. Not everybody's going to be ready to start, ready to play right away. So you're going to need to pay in free agency. So it's going to be an interesting sort of dynamic that plays out for Darnell Mooney and what this market looks like and what the Bears can do. But 10 million is kind of a lot for a guy who hasn't really performed lately. Now, the other part to this is if I'm saying to you, and I've said this to you, if I said that, the bigger problem of all of this is that Luke Getsy did not coach this team to their best advantage, then couldn't the same be said about Darnell Mooney? And if that is the case, then perhaps we are going to miss out, in fact, if we move on from Darnell Mooney. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out, but the market pretty significant for Darnell Mooney. So I think that, I don't know what they're planning on doing yet. It could be that they're bringing in Mike Evans or somebody like that. We've still got Curtis Samuel out here. I don't know that they're tremendous upgrades at this point to Darnell Mooney. Again, if we can assume that maybe he was just a little bit, if he was just a little bit maybe out of place in the Luke Getsy offense. So also, moving on, 11 free agent targets who could boost the Bears offense if they hit the market. And of course, we already know that some of these guys have hit the market, but Nick Allegretti, the Chiefs' backup interior lineman, would be an absolute banger if you can pick him up. And, look, we need interior offensive linemen. Maybe we're going to get lucky and get a nice center. Connor Williams comes to mind, Aaron Brewer. there's potential big pickups in the center, and you never know when we're going to just reach for Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon at the center position. Maybe that's going to be one of those moves that gets to be made. I wasn't able to make it in my draft today, but it is something that is on the radar and could happen. So uh, looking at this, Jatire Carter has yet to develop into a convincing option after the Bears selected him with the 7th round pick in the 2022 draft. So you move on from him. The Bears will need to replace Cody Whitehair. So, and by the way, we did do that with this draft. I think I'm pretty sure I went heavy on interior alignment, already thinking about this. But Allegretti proved he's a warrior by playing through a torn UCL in the Super Bowl. So interesting opportunity right there if he's available. Also, Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown, of course, makes Darnell Mooney completely expendable at this point. So I just don't know the amount of money that it would cost. But here's the thing. He hasn't been in the spotlight lately in Arizona. I don't think that Kyler Murray and he have worked very well together. He enjoyed some success in a reunion with his college quarterback teammate Kyler Murray, but injuries and ineffective across the entire Cardinals offense over the past 2 seasons dragged his numbers down. Still, he's a sure-handed receiver who finds a way to score. In 72 career games, he has 313 catches for 3,600 yards and 28 touchdowns. So good guy to pick up potentially. And I can't wait to see. I can't wait. And we'll probably make a dedicated video talking about it as soon as that thing comes out. We're just waiting. I don't know exactly what time it comes out. I haven't looked at the 33rd team schedule to see when it's going to come out. So, but I'm interested. I'm certainly interested. And I think what we're going to find out, by the way, just from the way that he was talking about, like, bro, I'm glad you asked me about that because and he probably never followed the Chicago Bears. He probably just never followed them. Yesterday we did go through, by the way, and you can go back and you can look at yesterday's podcast. He did not go through it. He never he only followed. I think he only liked one post. So maybe. But anyway, moving on here, Mike Evans. People love to talk about how he's crossed the 1,000-yard mark in every single season of his 10-year career. That's by far the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start a career. The 10 seasons are tied with Moss for the most 1,000 yards campaign over an entire career, trailing only Jerry Rice's 14 seasons. So it's possible that we've got a Mike Evans. I mean, just imagine, if you will, the Bears doing something radical and going with let's say we take Caleb Williams with the first overall pick, and at the number 9 pick we take that edge rusher that we've been looking for, that Dallas Turner type that we're looking for, that Jared Verse type that we're looking for. Again, Jared Verse going to be my favorite of those available, and Latu also ranking up there as well. But let's just say we do that. Well, then we're going to need a receiver. And what happens if we pick up Mike Evans? Now we've got 2,000-yard receivers on each side of the ball. This team has been completely upgraded. Now, if you consider also, what if we went with Brock Bowers at that 9 selection, if he happens to be available there? Well, then we've shored up the passing game as well in the same context. So there is certainly some opportunity. Evans is 6'5", 230 pounds, and would be a perfect complement to the 5'11", 210-pound DJ Moore. He would give the Bears quarterback a big target for 50-50 balls down the field and knows how to use his size to box out small defenders in the end zone. So it'd be incredible. Now you've got Noah Fant that's also going to be out here. Robert Tonyan, that he was absolutely no good. Really, and I shouldn't say that. It's really kind of unfair to Robert Tonyan. I'm sure he gave it his all. He just doesn't fit. Like, he's a Luke Getsy guy, and it just didn't fit in the offensive scheme. New offensive coordinator Shane Waldron also likes to use a 2 tight end set. But it seems unlikely that Tonyan is going to stick around. He's an unrestricted free agent, so we'll see what happens. And you have Graham Glasgow, Lions interior lineman, and he's from DeKalb, so maybe he presents an option. Hunter Henry, the tight end, he's 329 passes, 3,853 yards, 38 touchdowns in 7 seasons with the Patriots. That seems like a pretty good pickup. Again, are you moving on from Mercedes Lewis? Can you pick up Brock Bowers? What is the goal there? Then you have Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver from the Colts. Perhaps Moore led the same group with tiny 2% drop rate. Pittman was 14th with a 4.4% drop rate. Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver for the Lions, also available. Dalton Schultz, Texans tight end. Coleman Shelton, Rams center. Connor Williams, of course, coming off of an ACL, cost the last 4 games of the season. So there are a couple of players out there that are available. I think Connor Williams probably the one that Mike Evans, Connor Williams, probably the two that make the biggest impact for the Bears going into this. But now let's move on here and go with, could the Bears keep Justin Fields, trade the number 1 overall pick for hypothetical ideas? And this is what they're going to get into. When the Bears selected Justin Fields in the first round 3 years ago, the city of Chicago collectively celebrated. There was a real consensus the team had finally gotten it right after decades of futility. The franchise had found its guy. Not quite, it seems, so far. Chicago, in possession of the number 1 overall pick for the second year in a row, appears ready to anoint new quarterback Caleb Williams in April, but that's not really true. However, there's been no indication one way or another, so you never really know which one of these it will be, right? But Caleb Williams is the universal favorite to be the first name called in the 2024 NFL Draft in Detroit. Fellow quarterback prospects Drake May and Jaden Daniels also have fans. In fact, I did see a list yesterday that said that the biggest prospects in all of quarterback had Caleb Williams at number 1, had Joe Burrow, I think, at number 2, Trevor Lawrence was number 2, Joe Burrow was number 3, and Drake May was number 4 on that list. So I'm not sure about that list, but it's kind of interesting. If the Bears do indeed take a signal caller, it will almost certainly send Fields to the highest bidder in the weeks after. So, but what happens if the Bears hold on? So these are the potential trade packages. So the Bears, if they traded with the Commanders for the first overall pick, the Bears would likely pick up the number 2 pick overall. Then they would pick up the second round pick at number 36, the second round pick at number 40, and then a third round pick compensatory. So that's a Washington would be paying a big premium in order to move up, assuming that this was, and this is a weighted system that they're using right here, but this would be what the Bears, this is the type of legendary haul. Because let's face it, this 36 and 40, just to give you guys an idea of what it would look like if you were able to get like a 36 and a 40 here, that's where Darius Robinson is. And remember, that's a coveted defensive end in that second round. And maybe even Jackson Powers Johnson, who always seems to come up around this range in these drafts. We don't know, up or down how this thing plays out, but you also would have some serious second round draft capital that you would be able to use to shore up a team that really still needs, by the way, really still needs a lot of draft picks. And there's only 6 in this upcoming draft. So the Bears do not have that draft capital. And this would provide them with a total of 8 picks instead of the 6. And that gives you a little bit more. 9, I'm sorry. But moving on from there, if they went to the Patriots, then you'd be looking at a first round pick, number 3 overall, and then the second round pick, number 34. Again, doesn't give you the same capital that you were looking at before, but you would get the number 2020, you would get the 2025 first round pick, and you would have to make a decision here. Like, what do you think? What do you think the odds are that New England would be the worst team? What do you think the odds are that New England would not do very well and end up being horrible? And there's a possibility that's the case. There is a possibility that the New England Patriots are not yet ready to compete, and the Bears might get the first pick for the 3rd year in a row. So there is something to consider there, which you're not getting, by the way, with the Commanders. So this would be an interesting play right here. Also, by the way, what if you drop down to number 2 and then you drop down to number 3 because that these guys both need a quarterback and they're both coveting quarterbacks. What if you had an opportunity what if you had an opportunity to move down twice and continue to stock up these draft picks, and you had the number 34, number 36, and the number 40 pick in the second round? So there is some possibility there. But then keep moving down here, and then you look at the Giants coming in, where the Bears would receive the number 6 overall pick, and then they would get the number 39, number 70, and then 2 first-round picks coming later, and that would be a big premium. This would actually be a favorable relationship for the Bears in the long term, but this is not going to win games for them right now. That number 6 overall pick, that changes the dynamic, because if you do this, then you're considering that Caleb Williams, if you want him, is no longer available. Drake May is no longer available. Marvin Harrison is no longer available. And now what do you have left? Maybe Malik Neighbors, because that's who the Giants are expecting to select. So you would have your game-changing wide receiver, and you're sticking with Justin Fields. So maybe you've solved your problem right there, and you've picked up a 39 and a 70 pick. Again, you could still get that Darius Robinson type edge rusher in the second round, but and to remember, you already have that 9 pick as well. So with the changes that are happening right here for the premium sort of players, you might even be able to pick up a Brock Bowers. You might even be able to pick up somebody. You might be able to get that edge rusher that you are looking for. Latu, Jared Verse, Dallas Turner. You might be able to make some real big and significant moves right here. But your second round, you I don't like this because you're thinking too far out in 2025, 2026, and you don't know how the Giants are going to do. I mean, I don't know about the Patriots either. When I said that before, I would just be guessing wildly because Bill Belichick is no longer there, and I think it's Gerard Mayo who's now the coach over there. So I don't know that there's any kind of upside right there. But I mean, hey, you're stacking draft picks, so why not? And then one final one is the Atlanta Falcons, which come up a lot, by the way. This one comes up a lot. The Bears would get the number 8 pick, so they would then have the number 8 and the number 9. And then in the 2024, they would get running back Bijan Robinson, which replaces Deonta Foreman, ironically. And certainly not a fan of this one. Like, I really don't think this is a great. This is not even close to a great deal. But it's the number 8 and the number 9. Brock Bowers, Roma Dunze, or Roma Dunze, probably still available. Again, if you're moving up like this for somebody who needs a quarterback, then you're taking quarterbacks off the board. And by the way, there's no accounting for maybe you could take Roma Dunze at number 8 and JJ McCarthy at number 9, and you still got a new quarterback for down the road. To let him sit for a little while behind Justin Fields. I mean, I don't know what they want to do, but 2024 third round pick. Again, I don't like that. It's too far. There are too many pieces that the Bears could get in some of these earlier trades. I just don't like this. And then 2025 first round pick, and then 2026 second round pick. So, but then here is where it just gets absolutely not for me. 2024 first round pick number 1, and then they would get running back Khalil Herbert. Absolutely no way. This is Jesus fucking Christ. This is so bad. This is the worst. The more I look at this, the more appalled I get. And here, building on the biggest strengths, Bijan would be a clear upgrade over Herbert, who's valued here as the first pick in round 6. No, absolutely not. And by the way, I am hung up on Khalil Herbert, and I do have to say this for the record that Khalil Herbert, I think, has done a fantastic job as the Bears running back, and so has, by the way, his spell relieved in Roschon Johnson. Like I breaking that up would be, ooh, Jesus Christ. I just don't see it. I don't feel it. I mean, and you know what? If you guys do, let me know in the comment section. I mean, certainly there is some opportunity there, but NFL, boom, 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 boom. All right, so let's look at the stats right here, and I mean, like, what are we looking at when we would look at rushing? Khalil Herbert averaged 4.6 yards a rush. Are you stupid? You know what I mean? Like, that's out of control. To tell people, and Khalil Herbert's available for 12 games, and of course he's splitting with Deonta Foreman and Justin Fields in a backfield where he's not a star, right? But let's break this down. I love the way Deonta Foreman rushes. Okay, I want to stress this. However, with 109 rushes, 3.9 yards a rush. Khalil Herbert, 4.6 yards. You're getting 0.7 more yards per carry out of Khalil Herbert. Not of the range of Justin Fields, but and big. When you get the big run, the big plays, 44 and 5. Deonta Foreman did not. Roschon Johnson, 81 carries, 352 yards, 4.3 yards a carry, with 2 big plays, more than Deonta Foreman. So is Bijan Robinson that big of an upgrade? Well, I mean, I guess let's go break his ass down and see what it looks like for his stats. Because to be fair, like I'm looking at this and there's absolutely no way. He has 214 carries, 976 yards, 4.6. He had 7 big carries, but we played 17 games. This is a like, holy shit. This is You're moving sideways right here. There's no benefit to this, and I don't even mean to get like we shouldn't. This is not even reality here that this is going to happen. But Jesus, it infuriates me sometimes when I see this raggedy bullshit. We already have enough raggedy bullshit that people throw at us over what could happen, what might happen, blah 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 blah. But here, in the event that Justin Fields is traded, there are four people to consider. Okay, right now, the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, he's from the ATL, so this would be a return home. He was born in Kennesaw, which is a suburb of Atlanta. So that would be an opportunity for him. However, the same as everybody else, he would be working on his fourth offensive coordinator. So that's not a that's not a how's that not a deal breaker or whatever. Anyway, so the Atlanta Falcons are an option. The Las Vegas Raiders are not an option, despite that they're saying that they're an option here. Luke Getsy, there's absolutely no opportunity here. I mean, and guys, they're at least being honest about it. There's one mammoth butt here, and it's offensive coordinator. New head coach Antonio Pierce decided to hire former Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. Again, this is the Luke Getsy who designed a 112 quarterback rating for Justin Fields in the first quarter of games. There's no problem with the way he designs those games, but when he adapts his his offense to the defenses that he's playing, he's not done a fantastic job, and he did not utilize the skills that Justin Field had in an appropriate and proper way. Justin Field should have probably averaged 1,000 yards rushing, and he didn't. It was 600 yards rushing, even with a couple games missed. It was still Justin Fields was more than the sum of all of this. So and by the way, that doesn't mean that I want to keep Justin Fields and that he's got to be the guy. I think that he should be the guy, but it doesn't matter. He was not utilized appropriately. Perhaps that changes with a better host of offensive weapons, but it could be a primary reason the deal doesn't happen. Should be a reason the deal doesn't happen. Pittsburgh, however, has already said, are the Steelers ready to pull the plug on Kenny Pickett? Well, they should be. However, it sounds like in Pittsburgh that they want to go with Kenny Pickett, and that they believe that he's going to be able to get it done. And they did release Mitchell Trubisky, so it should be noted that they have moved on a little bit, and they do have a spot available. So it is possible that they see this as an upgrade, but I don't know yet. And then the Minnesota Vikings, would Chicago trade to an NFC North team? Like, that's wild to think. But imagine what you could get if you were going to make that kind of trade. You wouldn't go for a draft pick. I want a defensive end. You know what I mean? I want somebody who's going to stop sacking my ass if this were the idea. But those are just a couple of them that are ideas. Now, this is, excuse me, moving on here. This is Trey Wingo, Jared Allen, and Chase Daniel. And guys, you already know Trey Wingo and Chase Daniel. They think that it would be a mistake to move on from Justin Fields. And now Jared Allen is coming out saying the same thing, that trade down and build a team around Justin Fields. And look, you can not like, you can be one of those guys that just kind of hates Justin Fields because you've been waiting your whole life for that game-changing superior quarterback that you've always wanted, and you just didn't see it in Justin Fields or anything like that. But the pros, the guys that make the plays, the guys that are out here doing it every day, they're the ones saying, yeah, Justin Fields is the guy. The guy who doesn't watch football, Brian Urlacher, the guy who doesn't even, is like, I don't even watch these games, but you should move on. He doesn't even know what he's watching on the field. So, or on the Soldier Fields or the Justin Fields. So many different things you could do with Justin Fields, especially for marketing. Jesus Christ. McCaskies, get your shit together. There's so many different things, but here's the thing. Jared Allen, trade down and build around Justin Fields. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's not my idea. It's not my idea. It's Ryan Poles ultimately, but there we go. And then next up, we have CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud of the CJ Stroud Strouds that everybody is super excited about. Well, what do you think, Mister? I'm a really good quarterback, and I know quarterbacking. And if he knows quarterbacking, what does he know? He says, trade down and keep Justin Fields. Are you stupid? So there's another one weighing in. Then over here, this is to the bad side. And here's the thing. Remember, recently there were conversations and comments made by Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, really in support of Justin Fields. Jonathan Woods, however, says this. From my perspective, there is no internal debate in which the Bears are kicking around the idea of keeping Justin Fields versus drafting a quarterback. He has no, by the way, this is his perspective. Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything to him. He doesn't want to stress that. I believe the work being done is to determine which quarterback they should select. So the whole Fields versus Caleb Williams debate is a pointless exercise. And that would mean that he thinks that they're moving on. Why is that his perspective? Because he just thinks they should. Because the guy who's never played the game, the beat writer, he thinks they should just move on. There's no internal debate. Strong words from the Bears beat writer that is historically the most plugged into the front office. Does he know anything, and has he said anything? No, he has no idea. However, he does have the inroads. He is one of the more accurate sort of people. So, we'll see. What to make of Kevin Warren's comments regarding Justin Fields? Why will Ryan Poles be in the market for a veteran quarterback? Could Lloyd Cushenberry be a target in free agency? And he praises for players still in rookie contracts. So this is all based on Kevin Warren's comments, and Kevin Warren's big time Justin Fields supporter. So and does can Kevin Warren kind of step in here and say, hey, I want Justin Fields to Ryan Poles. Could he do that? Yeah. But would he do that? No, I don't think that he would. I think he understands that, what he wants and what he likes, that's on a season to season basis. That's based on how you build. And look, Kevin Warren should not place capital into Justin Fields or any player for that matter. He should be looking at the entire sum of the Chicago Bears and not just that one player. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that Kevin Warren is pro Justin Fields. I think he probably looks at it and says, it's a great marketing opportunity. Soldier Fields. I think that it just kind of writes itself. However, we shall see what we shall see. Also, now it's time for the mock draft simulator. Oh, and by the way, I did go back here to the Justin Fields. I did show you guys. Oh, never mind. Shit, I showed you. So here was my draft for the day. Oh, Jesus Christ. It was just all right. So here's what I did. All right. I'm gonna tell you guys what I did here because some of you are not gonna like it. But I decided that, what? Look, I'm gonna be honest with everybody. There is a possibility that the Bears are going to move on. Justin Fields not going to be the quarterback. There's also a possibility that I don't like Caleb Williams and that I think Caleb Williams is probably not the guy. And that it would be the mistake in order to do it. So what I did was I took an opportunity to start making some trades, and I traded my way into what I thought was a pretty good sort of draft all told. So let's look at it right now. So I drafted down. I moved down in the draft at number 2, and I ended up taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I traded with the Commanders, and then I got an opportunity at the 9 pick to make another trade down. Now, here's the thing: on the clock at that point, when I was looking at it, there was an opportunity. There was an opportunity for me to take right here. I got to the number 9, and you can see that Joe Alt was taken here. Now, Roma Dunze had already been gone, and I had Dallas Turner on the radar. I had Latu on the radar. I had Jared Verse on the radar. I had Brock Bowers on the radar. I had Jackson Powers Johnson on the radar. I had plenty of people on the radar, but I thought, you know what? Let's just build. Let's build it just in case. So I went with JJ McCarthy. I traded down at number 9. And then at number 14, I said, you know what? Let's just assume we're going to move on at quarterback. I pulled in JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy represents a winner. He won a national title. I mean, it's cool to win a Heisman. I'm not taking anything away from Heisman winners, but winning national title, I think, makes you more of a winner in my mind. Now, making these trades allowed me to pick up the number 36 pick, which I got from Washington, which I then used to pick up Darius Robinson. And as you guys might know already, 6'5", 295-pound edge rusher who had 8.5 sacks in 8 games at Missouri, in his final 8 games at Missouri, and was a disruptive force on the field. And not only that, but he also at the Senior Bowl was just an absolute monster in the backfield, really showing out for people. I think, maybe he just kind of developed at that point and became something a little bit better. So Darius Robinson at the number 36 pick. And I feel like I've addressed my 3 star making sort of areas, right? I got Marvin Harrison Jr. I got the generational wide receiver that I wanted, and I covet. I covet this guy. Okay. Then I got JJ McCarthy, which look, you can like Caleb Williams, you can like Drake May, you can like Jaden Daniels. At the combine, I got a feeling that JJ McCarthy is probably going to show out. Just a feeling, okay, and that he's gonna move up in that conversation. So JJ McCarthy, that's going to be my new quarterback. Tyson Bagent's going to start my season. I don't think that I'm going to make the playoffs, by the way, in this regard. I do want to say that. Like, I don't think this makes me better. I think that Justin Fields is better. I do think that's still the better option, but I'm going with this. And Tyson Bagent, by the way, I do think Tyson Bagent's going to get better and better over time. And he's going to be a valuable backup in the league for years to come. He's got a quick release. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to play the game. He doesn't have a strong arm, so it's going to limit his ability. And I don't think that he can get strong enough in that arm and develop enough of that arm strength to make a big difference. But we will see whether he does or not. I love the fight that the guy has. So I like this pick when I kind of take a zoom out and say, if I have to move on from Justin because that's what we're doing, then I like JJ McCarthy. He's not going to light you. He's not going to light you up. He's not going to throw the ball 80 yards down the field. He's not going to pull that Brett Favre arm out, but he's going to make the throws. He's going to make the plays. He's going to read the checkdowns. He's going to make the right call every time to win a championship. I mean, he just did it. So that's my guy. So then Darius Robinson comes in at number 36. Again, the edge rusher, the gigantic guy that we're looking for in order to shore that up with Montez Sweat. And then we're going to get Tyler Nubin, 4 more picks down at number 40. So now we've got the Minnesota safety. So we've replaced Eddie Jackson. We've got our quarterback, we've got our wide receiver, we got our edge rusher, and now we need some depth at guard. At number 49, I took Christian Haynes from UConn. Is he a center? No, I'm assuming that we're going to have to find Aaron Brewer, Connor Williams, Aaron Gabriel, I think is available as well. So, we're going to have to find a center and we're going to have to make do. But Christian Haynes serves as some meat and a valuable backup. Then we got McKinley Jackson, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M to kind of shore up. I assume we're bringing back Justin Jones, but I don't know. And if that isn't the case, then we got Andrew Billingsley, we got Gervon Dexter, and we got Andrew Pickens. So we need somebody else in that rotation, at least one person in that rotation, probably 2 more. But McKinley Jackson certainly represents that need. Then we have Jeremiah Trotter, linebacker from Clemson. This is junior. His dad did play. I felt like it was Jeremiah Trottier, but it's Jeremiah Trotter. Junior linebacker from Clemson. So that'll give us a little bit more depth at linebacker. Then I took a tight end, Jatavion Sanders from Texas. Running back, Jalen Wright. That kind of fills up Deontay Foreman spot right there. And then I took another offensive tackle as a backup, Matt Goncalves. This would be a project guy, but now we got 10 new bodies on the Chicago Bears. We fill the rest of it up in free agency, and then there we go. So now the question at that point was, how'd I do? I don't think that I got enough meat, if you will, but I really wasn't finding. This was actually a very difficult sort of draft because once I got Marvin Harrison out of the way, once I got JJ McCarthy out of the way, once I got Darius Robinson out of the way, I got my vanity positions kind of closed, and then I really didn't have a nice big guy in the right position that I was able to draft. So Christian Haynes was the biggest and best available when I got to it. Now at the 40 pick, I was reaching way down for Christian Haynes, which is why I took Tyler Nubin, because I knew that the safety was going to be another one of those positions. And Tyler Nubin graded out as a better guy overall. So it felt like that was the move to make. And then I got in here, we got the offensive guard, then we got McKinley Jackson, defensive tackle. And that's second, early 3rd round. Probably going to see some play time, probably going to see some field time. Jeremiah Trotter, also in the early part of the 3rd round, another potential. And then we got Jatavion Sanders, more of a blocker. And then we got Jalen Wright, and then Matt Goncalves. Now, again, I'm not going to be setting the world on fire, and I didn't create the depth that I would want. That's what I'm going to have to do through free agency. That's where that would have to come from. So, but that was my idea. I felt like getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and JJ McCarthy as my new tandem going forward, and then being able to pair them with, of course, DJ Moore, and then maybe just maybe Darnell Mooney, and this becomes a really really great offensive team kind of right away. Again, JJ McCarthy, more of a game manager, but makes the plays and makes the smart throws over and over and over again. And then, by the way, I don't want to say it because it just makes me kind of a dick when I do. But I was watching this video because I was looking out here, and we had this Caleb Williams video that was coming out, and people were like, "Oh, this is the guy that you want, right?" And it was versus Notre Dame, and it was just this ongoing. Yeah, it was just this ongoing video of him just missing and missing and missing and just and I mean getting he was just getting annihilated overall by Notre Dame. And interception. And I think like and it just goes on and on and on. And by the way, I was watching that before. I think it's this one right here. But this was um uh like I was just watching it and it was just like it was a just a night it was just a nightmare of plays and stuff like that. I was just like, man, whew, that really, really was bad. But you could see all of the mistakes just kind of laid out and fleshed out right in front of you. So Jesus Christ, like this poor dude. And just imagine. By the way, I do want to point out, no matter what, and he did have a lot of fumbles, by the way, 8 fumbles over the course of the year. So, seeing all of the positivity, I don't see it the same way that some people do, but that's okay because, I'm, you know, I, that's okay. We all have an opinion, and sometimes our opinion is going to be right, some is going to be wrong. I'll tell you, one of my guys that I thought was going to be one of the most game-changing running backs in the history of the NFL, and I'm going to say that, and I'm going to hype it up like that because when I say his name, you're not even going to know who the f he is, right? But his name was Noel Devine. And look, I think he's a coach right now, but Noel Devine was one of the most incredible running backs that I had ever seen. And he was playing for West Virginia. And he was just like, I mean, he was the fastest person you'd ever seen. He was just an amazing, amazing. I think he was averaging something like 7.9 yards a carry in one season. I mean, like he was just, and this is around the time that Marshall Falk was really just kind of crushing ass at that point, and living his best life. But I mean, like when you look at this guy statistically, he was just unbelievable. Here we go. In 2007, he averaged 8.6 yards per carry. In 2009, he had 1,300 yards, 6.3 yards a carry. In 2009, 1,465, 6.1 yards per carry. He was decent reception, 35, 22, and 34 receptions. He had plenty of kickoff returns. Like this guy was fantastic and just fell apart. So I don't know who's going to be great in the NFL all the time. So I think, but I don't ever really know who they are or who they're going to be. We're all guessing. Um, I'm right more than most people. I can tell you that, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right every time. You know what I mean? So um, I'm not sold on Caleb, but I have a feeling that Poles is. And you know what? I think we convince ourselves that that's the case. So, and if it is, let's go, Caleb. Get your shit together, put on your helmet, and let's go. Um, by the way, does that mean we have to get rid of was it Tyler? Is it Tyler Scott who has the number 13 jersey? Like we have to, he's gonna have to buy him like a Tesla Cybertruck, a rusty Tesla Cybertruck is what he's gonna have to buy him. I can't believe that thing rusts already. Son of a bitch. It's unbelievable. Can you believe that? But anyway, so I'm not sold on him at all. But the question is he better than Justin Fields? Now, I don't think so in the short term. I think what I want is I want to win immediately. That's what matters to me. And I think that Justin Fields represents the best opportunity to win now. That's what matters to me. I don't give a shit about next year. 2025. I don't give a shit about 2026. I don't care how much you got to pay a quarterback. I don't care how much you got to do. Look, if you can trade down enough and you can be creative enough in your draft, you can get a number one draft pick next year. And 2025 quarterbacks, 2025 college quarterback draft class. And look, they're not killing it. I mean, but I mean, when you start to look at this, you're going to start to find that you've actually got some really good selections here, and they do rate out pretty well. So, I mean, like, I'm not upset if the Bears stick with Justin Fields just so they can have one more year because they're not worried about the number one guy because they don't believe in Caleb Williams. Okay, so I'm cool with this. But Shadur Sanders, 69% passes, 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns, represents exactly what you wanted. So Shadur Sanders going to be number one, probably going to be the number one pick overall, by the way. But then you have Quinn Ewers, 6'2", 206 pounds, out of Texas, and I mean, look, every game at Texas is a big game, right? So 69% of his passes for 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, big time potential in 2022. He completed 58% of his passes, so he got way better. So, I mean, this guy's constantly improving. Then you have Drew Aller, the quarterback out of Penn State, 6'5", 243. This guy's a mountain. 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, does he, like this is a big time guy. Carson Beck out of Georgia, 6'4", 220, used to the pressure of every single game. Like, I mean, he completed 72% of his passes for 4,000 yards and 24 touchdowns. Riley Leonard, this is a fifth-year guy, by the way. Riley Leonard, a quarterback at Notre Dame. By the way, he played his first 4 seasons at Duke. He's a grad transfer to get his fifth year. So he entered the transfer portal and he's graduated already. So he's just going to be playing 1 year for Notre Dame. Notre Dame seems to like to bring in, 1-year quarterbacks right now. This could be, this could be one of those big guys. He played well at times during the 2023 season, but his performance against Notre Dame illustrated that he needs more development in terms of accuracy while getting rushed and staying poised under pressure. So this is a guy that's available, but he's a work in progress, which is why he's staying one more year and going to Notre Dame to try to get that. And he wants that big play experience. So there's the potential right there. Then you have Jalen Milroe, and Jesus Christ, guys, let me tell you something. Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. I think that's more of a Justin Fields type. So I know that, if we're not taking if we're going to take Jalen Milroe, we're going to take Justin Fields. Or if we're going to take Justin Fields, it's the same thing to me. Jalen Milroe represents a very high athlete with a very high ability, but he's also a work in progress. So, you know what I mean? Like that's. We have Will Howard out of Ohio State, Tyler Van Dyke out of Wisconsin, Cam Ward out of Miami. Rafa says 2025 is a way worse class. It is, but also, I mean, here's the thing. If I were trading, if I were doing this, let's do this one more time, and I'll show you why it matters to me. If I get an NFL mock draft simulator and I come in here, I'm trying to make my moves, right? So I'm going to take Chicago. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to enter this draft, and then I'm going to get like trades proposed to me right away. And let me. I don't know why this ended up going to 150 immediately, but let's see what the trades look like. Let's restart that one more time here. Bears 7 fast. I mean, this is what it looks. This is what it looks like. So I got the first pick overall. Minnesota is offering me a 12 and a 2025 first round pick. So there's an option there. Then this is projection, by the way. This doesn't mean that these teams are actually doing this, but Las Vegas is offering me the 13 pick and a first round for next year. Washington is offering me their first round pick for the next year and the number 2 and the number 36 and the number 40 and the number 67. Fuck my life. Like, how would you not take that? Look, you're stupid if you don't take this to begin with. If you were to get an offer like this right here, that's the dumbest thing you can do is say, no, I want Caleb Williams. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Pick 3 right here. New England wants to move up to number 3, and you get pick number 34 and pick number 68 and the first round for next year and a second round for next year. What idiot would not take that? And here's what you're doing. You're then betting on New England being at least one of the top. Like, are they going to turn it around completely and your pick's going to be wasted? I don't think so. I think that New England's got some rebuilding to do. And then, of course, Atlanta, same thing. Like, you're getting the first round pick for the next draft. So there is some risk that you would take in it, but there's also some immediate and very specific reward here. Pick number 34, number 68. I mean, like, if I just accepted this with New England, and then let's just say I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to make that move right there. So then I get my Marvin Harrison Jr. that I want, right? And then I'm going to reject every trade here. And now what do? What am I going to do to make my team better? Brock Bowers or Dallas Turner? Well, God damn it, I'm going to hedge right now. I'm going to say that if I'm doing this and I'm sticking with this, then Brock Bowers, now my offense is set, right? But now I've got this pick down here. So now what am I going to do here? Now I've got Amarius Mims at number 34, a big time offensive tackle. So now if I want to, I have the ability and the capacity to shore up Braxton Jones or give him somebody who's going to be fighting with him. Now is my time to start doing some trading. I don't like this pick right here, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to take Chris Jenkins because he just won a national championship. And then I'm going to reject because I don't do business with Dallas. Fuck Dallas. Anyway, I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't give a shit about Dallas. Rook Ororo, defensive tackle. Now, again, I'm not getting the players that I want. Like, I'm not finding what I'm looking for at my positions of greatest need right there. But I'm taking I got Blake Fisher, offensive tackle from Notre Dame, the opposite side of Joe Alt. I got Dwayne Carter at Duke, Braden Fisk from Florida State. I've got Jaheim Bell, Mason Smith, Jaden Hicks. I need Jaden Hicks right there because I need a safety. So I've got a safety right there. Now I've got the number 123 and a number 2025 Miami 6th-round pick, but I'm going to pick up 3 other picks here. So I'm going to accept this trade. Now I got a whole bunch of picks in a row, and we're going to reject that one. And what are we going to do right here? We're going to take Dylan Law. That's going to just have to be. Look, I'm filling it. Wait, I got Bo Limmer at center. So, you know what I mean? Then we got Matt Goncalves. We're going to pick him again. And now we've got a lot of depth at the line, potential depth, by the way, potential depth at the line. Just because I'm late in the draft here, so you never know which one of these nuggets are going to just kind of pan out. We got a tight end right there. And then we've got Drake Nugent out of Michigan. That's the center for Michigan. So LFG, let's go. And then I think that rounds it off. I think that, at that point, and I don't like the draft nearly as much. And, oh, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of. Here's the best part, right? We don't have a bunch of low draft picks. Like this is, and here I just picked up 10 players instead of 6. And I got Marvin Harrison Jr., I got Brock Bowers, I got Amarius Mims, I got Chris Jenkins, Rook Ororo, Jaden Hicks, Bo Limmer, Matt Goncalves, Jared Wiley, and Drake Nugent. And what I did is I went heavy on the meat on the line. I went for an offensive tackle, an early offensive tackle, a defensive tackle in Chris Jenkins, another defensive tackle in Rook Ororo. Then I went 2 centers, by the way, Bo Limmer and Drake Nugent, and another tackle, Matt Goncalves. Again, we're putting up as much potential meat on these lines as we possibly can to give ourselves an opportunity. So, I mean, there you have it. Lions are frauds. You goddamn right they are. The Lions have no shot. The Bears have their number. I mean, look, that last game, that last game that beat down 28-13, that should have shown you it should have been 26-14 and 28-13 because the Bears are obviously the superior team that just for whatever reason collapsed defensively, got super tired and lost that first game. Like for whatever reason. And by the way, I know the reason. I was incredibly frustrated. And in fact, if you go back and you start looking at some of the stuff that I was talking about or that I was posting on Twitter at the time, I'm like, Jesus Christ, the Bears are going to lose this game because they're up 26 points and they're playing to not lose instead of trying to score one more time. Luke Getsy is calling a terrible, after calling a great game, is calling a terrible third quarter. Like, I have no idea what he's doing. I don't know what's wrong with him. What is broken here? Score. Go downfield. Stop trying to eat clock. Stop trying to do bullshit. Start trying to win football games. I was getting very angry, right? And then, of course, what happens? It played out exactly like I said. And by the way, the reason it played out exactly like I said, because it happened before. It happened before. The Bears know how to get a lead. They knew how to. I mean, again, Not for nothing, but Justin Fields' quarterback rating is 112 in the first quarter, 91 in the second quarter. They have no problem starting games off and doing a decent job moving downfield and making some scores and getting themselves into a position where, as long as the defense holds, then they're going to have a nice lead. But when you get to the third and fourth quarter, the performance goes way down. So his quarterback rating, I think, was 86 in the third quarter and then 53 in the fourth quarter. Some of that has to be coaching. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Like, I'm not trying to hate, but fuck Luke Getzey. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't get it. Or he didn't get Justin Fields, and that cost us dearly. And in fact, it cost us so dearly. And Clint Jefferson here. This is it right here. You understand. Like, it's not. This was not. This was the team. And by the way, I blame Luke Getzey because it was the early third quarter when they should have been focused on scoring, where they were focused on eating clock for some stupid reason. And like, you could see it, like you knew it was happening, and you're like, oh my God, we're going to lose this goddamn game. But everybody, all the fans are like, yeah, we went in, dog. And then they're like, oh my God, Getzey, what are you doing? I mean, go look at it on Twitter. You know what? You can use advanced Twitter, and you can figure it out for yourself. Like, it's just bonkers that he would do this. I mean, no sense whatsoever. So anyway, I digress. But here, by the way, I picked up the 2025 on this draft. I should have pointed this out. I also picked up the 2025 New England first and second round picks. So like, I am golden here for 12. I mean, you get 10 players, and you got 2 more draft picks and more draft capital for the next season. So I mean, like, I feel like we're in a great potential place right there. And who the hell ended up with whom? Caleb Williams went to the New England. Drake May went to Wisconsin, or went to Wisconsin. Jesus fucking Christ, just shit together. Washington. Malik Neighbors at number 4 went to LSU. I mean, anyway, so that's it, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come do this. I would trade down to get Daniels, May, Nix, but this would allow us to gain another couple of quality picks. Well, Evie Warrior, that's what I mean, I feel like I keep saying the same thing. Because I'm giving you the benefit of, let's just agree that maybe the Bears are going to move on. If they're going to move on, there are options here. It's that first round pick. Like, what can you get? What kind of capital can you get out of the first round pick? And one of them, by the way, watch this. This draft right here, I was able to do this once, but I dropped down from 1 to 2, right? And then I got to number 3 right here. There we go. I just stocked up like crazy on draft picks right there. And now the next question is, what would I take for number 4? Well, they want to trade me the 2025 second round pick, and I don't want that. And then I'm going to get Marvin Harrison. So I got my guy. You know what I mean? Like, I got my guy at that point. Now here's the question. Is there anybody who's got an offer? We don't want 2868. We don't want that. We don't want that. No. So now if I need to, who are my quarterbacks that are available right now? It's a 9 pick. I would have a choice of JJ McCarthy. Still like JJ McCarthy. Jaden Daniels, a little bit too early. He just goes too early every single time. But he went at 8 on this one at the lowest. So possibility he exists, but if not, JJ McCarthy's right here. I don't have as much confidence as you do in Bo Nix, but I mean, I don't give a shit. As long as I don't care. As long as we win, it doesn't matter to me. But let's just say, again, let's say that we're not going to move on, right? That we're sticking with Justin Fields. Then we need to give him everything that we can possibly do to make his job easy. So we got Brock Bowers, boom. And then we got 30. Okay, so then we're going to reject that. We're going to reject that. And hey, look at this. If we want, we can get Bo Nix at the start of the second round, and that's going to be our quarterback of the future potentially, or our backup behind Tyson Bagent, because we do need a third backup. So there you go. Part of that problem solved. Now I'm going to take picks. I'm going to take that. Oh, I'll take that one every day. If I'm getting more picks, then all right. So now here we are. We get center Zach Frazier. We didn't get Jackson Powers Johnson, by the way, but we did get Zach Frazier, who is almost ranked as high as Jackson Powers Johnson, in case you guys did not know. And then we still have Trey Benson out here. We've got Christian Haynes, so we'll take the guard. So the situation exists that we can still continue to get good picks like that going later on. But anyway, that's it for now. Tomorrow should be a new format for the show. By the way, I've got a new setup over here that I'm working on. That's going to change a little the dynamic of it. I'm not really using this countdown window over here. I don't think it's I like it, but I don't think this is necessary. I think maybe we'll do it on the scroll at the bottom. But just felt like changing things up a little bit. So we'll probably have a little bit of a new format tomorrow. So until then, bear down. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Want to subscribe to the channel, helps to support me. Or if you want to get your drafts or something like that called out, you can send it to me at tomnationwide down in the description below. If you want me to check your mock draft, and we can put this up on the screen for you. And then also send super chats if you want to appreciate and all of that kind of crazy stuff. So until tomorrow, we will see you guys.
I can't wait till Friday. Everybody's getting silent.